If you spend 5 minutes on YouTube, you'll find millions of channels. Every one of them exists because somebody has a passion they want to share. So why did I make another channel? I've been asking myself that question a lot recently. Not because I was looking for a clever answer. To be honest, clever answers are beyond me. You see, I thought I was making a photography channel with a bit of walking and history thrown in. After all, every film seemed to involve a camera, a walk and a landscape. It made perfect sense. But though the camera was always there, it wasn't really the subject. Neither was the walk. The photographs mattered, of course, but they weren't the reason I kept going out. So what is this channel? Perhaps the best place to start is with the camera. I enjoy photography. I enjoy cameras too. Modern cameras are incredible pieces of wizardry. I find the technology fascinating, and to be honest, a little baffling at times. But somehow the camera quietly stopped being the reason I went outside. It became the excuse. These days, I honestly don't care what camera somebody else uses. I'm happy with mine, a 12-year-old Olympus EM1 Mark II. If your camera encourages you to get outside, then it's the right camera, even if it's a phone. Because the important part was never hanging around your neck. It was always the person carrying it. And that's when I realised something. Photography had become the language and not the story. The story was curiosity. The story was wondering what lay beyond the next gate or around the next bend. The story was learning to notice things that most people walk by. So, if photography isn't really the story, perhaps I should tell you something about the person carrying the camera. My name's Mike. I'm 61 years old and I work in retail. Photography isn't my career. It's simply something I choose to do whenever I get the chance. And when work finishes, I'll put a camera in my bag, head outside. Sometimes it's Dartmoor, sometimes a local woodland, occasionally a river, trying not to fall in. The destination isn't important, providing it's not downwards. However, the act of going is. Ever since I bought a camera, I thought I was looking for photographs. Now, I think I was looking for something else. It was a connection. Not just with the landscape, but with myself. When I'm walking through a woodland or standing on a tour, I feel different. Not because I've escaped life. Life will still be there when I get home, but for a little while I breathe more deeply. There's a freedom that arrives almost unnoticed. The camera gives me permission to slow down, to look, listen, and stop. Sometimes it's because light catches my eye, at others because a droplet of water is balancing precariously on a leaf. Most people walk by. I stop. Not because I'm a better observer, but because carrying a camera has taught me that ordinary things are often far more interesting than they first appear. I've always liked making connections, whether that's history, music, or photography. I enjoy asking questions. Perhaps that's why every one of these films begins with one. Of course, the photograph is important. It's a record of where I walked, a reminder of a day, and a memory I can share. But the real gift was never the photograph. It was the experience of making it. When I take a photograph, I'm not just recording what I saw. I'm recording how it felt to be there. In time, I don't just remember the picture. I remember the walk and the weather and the smell of the woodland. And most of all, the excitement of finding something I'd almost walked past. That's why I carry a camera. Not because I need another photograph, but because it encourages me to pay attention, to be present, to ask another question. As a child, curiosity was always there, only the topics changed. The curiosity has never really left me. Perhaps that's why at the age of 59 I completed a degree in classical studies with the Open University. I enjoy discovering connections that aren't immediately obvious. Sometimes they're between history and a landscape, sometimes between an obscure Bob Dylan lyric and an old footpath. Lately though, they're simply between the person I was and the person I'm slowly becoming. Perhaps that's why I enjoy making films now, rather than just simply taking photographs. A photograph captures a moment. A film lets me share the journey that led to it. It lets you hear birds, the breeze, the sound of the gravel beneath my boots. You just don't see where I went. You experience a little of what I experienced, mistakes included. And yes, there are plenty of those. So perhaps that's what Western Light has become. Not a photography, walking or history channel, although you'll certainly find all three here. It's simply a place where curiosity is welcome. A place where Bob Dylan and Leonard Cohen can sit happily beside local folklore and the Roman Empire. Where questions are often more interesting than answers. Where a photograph isn't a destination, it's the beginning of another conversation. I hope you'll join me now and again, and if you'd like to follow the journey, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.